worth it with Prime. So far, so good. This is almost 2 months for me now. I got back to the terminal to upgrade in April. So May, and now we're about halfway into June. So yeah, I started in April, I believe, at the end of April with my truck, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember if it was then or May. But yeah, I've been doing good. I've gotten about 4 paychecks already. So I would say this is my 5th or 6th week. Because things get staggered a bit while you're doing your upgrade. My first check, I was joking with you guys about the time to be eating peanut butter and jelly. That check was about $600 because of, again, the upgrade. So you don't get paid as much because you're not really, you do about 3 days worth of classes and you're not working the rest. The rest of the time you're picking out your truck, you're supplying your truck with things, and then you're, doing other things to make the truck your home. So that takes a little bit, gotta do a little shopping. There's a Walmart near the terminal. And then, you can go to the company store and get a few things that only they would have for you. That kind of stuff. So it took a little while. I had only did 1 load that week. So at least my check wasn't in the negative because I did 1 load and then I got paid for maybe 2 or 3 days in addition to that. So yeah, it was a low check. At least it wasn't in the negative though, because a lot of people say that, their first few weeks with Prime, even though they defer your first truck payment, a lot of people end up in the negative. So with me, I made sure that I never ended up in the negative with intention. I made sure that I stayed in the truck and I worked loads. I didn't go home. I didn't take a break. And I made sure that my check was always, enough to take home and not just get ate up by truck payment and everything else. But you gotta be dedicated to yourself. And you also need to have a high respect and a high regard for yourself. Because when you do, that will allow you to be professional enough when you're dealing with your fleet, your team on your fleet, the fleet manager, the weekend shift, the evening shift, or overnight shift. You gotta be able to take care of these things, guys, and with pride. I noticed that a lot of people don't know how to talk to their team, and vice versa. So the job that they have is the kind of job where they can be spiteful and get back at you by not giving you what you need. Don't put yourself in that position. Why would you want to do that? Why would you even want to go there? And I can't speak for them, but I know me personally, I like peace in my life, and I don't like to have, drama and conflict and all those things. I don't. So, be intentional, be very intentional about being upbeat and about communicating. Communication is an art. Be very skilled at it, especially when these people are working with you, because they're not your boss. you're a lease owner operator. You're your own boss. But still, they're putting food in your mouth. They're putting money on your table. So let them know what, you desire. Let them know what your goals are. Even the financial goals for the week or the financial goal for each load. You always got to take certain things into consideration. Fuel needs to be taken into consideration. How long you're going to be on that load needs to be taken into consideration. If it's a load that pays decent, but you're going to be out there for 3 or 4 days and it eats up your week, and you don't have enough time to get more loads before payroll closes for the week, if you can't get enough loads in within that 7-day time period and that one is not paying enough, then of course that's not the smart move. My sister Jamie, she helped me to appreciate that you don't have to accept loads just because you're new. And I'm like, yeah, why was I so busy listening, to people who talk about, well, when you're new, you need to just be kind of accepting anything to get in good with them and all that kind of stuff. Actually, that's not really necessary. This is your business. You're leasing your own truck. You're leasing your own truck. You understand what's going on here? This is you. And the way I live my life, I don't know why I was listening to everybody when it came to that. And she's right. She's 1,000% right. Be very careful, you guys. Be very mindful about what you listen to. If you're listening to someone who is always complaining about what they, what didn't happen and they got a little check, okay. Yeah, if you're listening to someone who's always got something, to complain about because they're not really getting paid good, trust me, you don't want to be influenced by them. I was listening to the things that they were saying and it made me think that, well, this is just how it goes. No, you guys have heard enough of my videos to understand that we create our own reality. So that also means that if you're listening to someone and you believe that what their experiences can happen to you, then it will happen to you. However, if you stay focused on your goals, knowing that this is what you're manifesting, and you have faith in that, don't do anything that's going to tear down that faith. If other people are going to try to prove to you that you're wrong, they're going to furnish proof with things that have happened to them or people that they know. They can only tell you about what they've seen and what they've experienced, what they've seen and heard from others or in their own life. That doesn't have to be your experience. You can create your own experience. I swear, if you remember that, you'll go a long way and you won't feel threatened to start, your own lease program. You can do it without having any type of reservation about it. I love you guys.